Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Hannah Wallace and today I'm joined by Daniel Meere from Access Corporate and we're going to be discussing SME market disruption. Daniel, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Firstly, how are UK SMEs impacted by the lack of competition in the market for banking services aimed at them?
I think firstly it's important to say that SMEs are a real driver of growth for economies the world over. They're huge employers in each economy that we see. One of the things I think they feel in the UK market in particular is that they're underserved by banks. They're treated more like retail plus customers than corporate like customers. And that manifests itself in a number of ways. So sometimes they feel that the services that they're offered don't necessarily meet their needs. Sometimes they feel that the relationship model that's put in place maybe has a lack of understanding of their sector or of their specific business needs. And they also feel that sometimes they have a lack of access to credit, particularly when they need it. So for example, in the early stages of growth, where being able to fund expansion is absolutely critical.
And can you tell me what activities are currently underway to try and change the situation?
Well, the government's been very vocal and active around this area. So firstly, we've seen that the Open Banking Standards regulation, which has been launched, that's aimed to open up the market, provide more choice and allow more providers to offer services to banks because the data is more available to them to drive those services. Secondly, we've seen that as a condition of the financial rescue packages which were put in place for both Lloyds, TSB and for RBS, Lloyds has had to sell TSB to Bank Sabadell. That in itself has created a new challenger bank with a focus on SMEs in the market. And secondly, RBS has now launched the Williams & Glyn Capability and Innovation Fund, and that's providing specific funding to challenger banks who are aiming to deliver better outcomes for SME customers.
And finally, how are established and new players in the UK banking market reacting, and what should they be doing better to meet the needs of these SMEs?
So we've seen new entrants into the market, new challenger banks with a specific focus on SMEs. Some examples there are CYBG, Starling, Metro and Aldermore, all of whom have taken a very, very focused approach on SMEs and tried to innovate with the products and services they offer to them. One thing we're seeing developing, which is a really interesting area, is the ecosystem model. So historically, banks have tried to develop and deliver the services they provide to customers internally, and now we're finding there's a more open architecture type approach where they're looking externally for better service providers, particularly fintechs, to bring in expertise, to help with mastery of data, which is one of the key differentiators for banks these days. Most banks that we're talking to are either deploying or looking to deploy an ecosystem model, which they feel brings the best of all of the service providers in the market and makes those available to their customers.
Daniel, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.